last to last quarter, we had this conversation about you having developed some in-house practices which could help you able to predict when the margin pressure points could come about so that you can tackle them better. And so is that still not quite yielding the results that you require? Part one. And part two, I read a note which said that the raw material led margin pressures could continue, but seemingly the commodity costs have come off a little bit. So what's your sense of what could happen in quarter two, quarter three, to input costs and thereby to margin pressures?
Yeah. So in terms of our processes and what we want to do, but I always believe that we can do better than where we are. And that's what our team is. Because we can't say that innovation has stopped. We reach to a level and then you start what next and why and keep improving, right? So I don't think that we can say, you know what, as far as processes and, management practices are concerned, we have arrived. We are not. We are an evolving organization and the science of management is also evolving. So I think we need to be on our toes and keep changing as we travel along the path. From that perspective, I think we are doing the best we can. And that is not to say that we can't do better. Of course, we can do better. And that's the question that we are asking ourselves. In fact, this afternoon, I'll be speaking to our senior management team along with our chairman. That's the message that we are giving to them, saying we cannot have this feeling of the fact that, we are now here. We're not here. We are just here as a transitory moment in time. We need to go forward and actually our potential is far ahead of where we are today. So that's one dimension. On the raw material side, you're right. We have said this, that we expect the second half of the year to be much better than the first half. Because of long cycles of execution, these 2 quarters on commodity prices impacts are already given. We've already seen one already gone by and this one. But as we go to the next quarter onwards, the change direction of the curve will start to become visible as we move forward. We have done many things. We have spoken with our customers. Many of them have been very supportive. They have agreed that we came to a very special time phase. They have even modified the contracts. So it's So there are different, what I would call as different levers at play. But we have to deal with, hopefully no more with this kind of volatility that we saw.
So Q2 might have still some pressure, but second half will be better.
That is correct.
Okay. Just one quick follow-up here on the margins. And this is something that I think, so there's a gentleman who's put out this tweet and he seems to be a fan of you and your company, but says that when will we see Praj clicking in, I'm quoting it verbatim, when will we see Praj clicking mid-teens margins? Is the pricing power not as strong for the company, which has a lion's share of the distillery market and cutting-edge research as well as products?
Well, I don't have a date when I can say, okay, on this date onwards will become margins in teens. That's what we also wish and we are working for. Having said that, I think there are characteristics of, so one of the things that has happened to us is there's an extremely strong domestic growth canvas right now that is unfolding, right? Because at the back of the EPP20 program, the domestic market margins are not same as what we get in the international market, where obviously they are much healthier compared to the domestic market. So even as I was mentioning last time also, that our export grew 37% in the previous year. We grew 40% of our booking this year as well. In the quarter went by. But the 30-40% of growth is not good enough to compensate for what's happening on the domestic side. So as a mix of the company, the overall margins percentage starts to look a little not so much in the teens as somebody puts it. But and of course then coupled with the commodity pressures, etc. But we are very clear, innovation is the only way out. Some of these things, as they start to play, the newer technologies when they start to play out, because 1G, first generation technology in ethanol, is now fairly standard across the world. But as low carbon ethanol strategy, the RNG, the second generation ethanol, when they start to play out in the auto mix as we move forward, maybe a couple of years, not this year, but from next year onwards, we will start to see a change there as well.